Hello guys, we're back to the Fermi Paradox Part 2. It's been a long time coming, but hey, it's here. So let's just get right into it. Should be interesting. Oh, I've been thinking of this Kurzgesagt in a nutshell channel. Let's call it in a nutshell channel. They have a lot of interesting content that I would like to react to, so I'll probably be reacting to those ones directly instead of by proxy, because I have a lot of things I want to see and I'm just gonna be more concise to myself. And I'll also gonna be watching No Protocol just because I enjoy our content, but I like to react to some of this stuff like blindly without watching it first. But in a nutshell, Fermi Paradox Part 2.
Anyway, there's a part 2 to this video. Let's just get into that right now. So give me a second. We'll start up with part 2.
A few moments later.
Okay, Fermi Paradox Part 2, Solutions and Ideas.
There are probably 10,000 stars for every grain of sand on Earth in the observable universe.
How do they estimate
there might
that?
be trillions of planets, so where are all the aliens? This is the Fermi Paradox. If you want to know more about it, watch part 1. Here, we look at possible solutions to the Fermi Paradox. So, will we be destroyed, or does a glorious future await us?
Hopefully it doesn't have to be either or.
Space travel is hard. Although possible, it's an enormous challenge to travel to other stars. Massive amounts of material have to be put into orbit and assembled. A journey of maybe thousands of years needs to be survived by a population big enough to start from scratch. And the planet might not be as hospitable as it seemed from afar. It was already extremely hard to set up a spaceship that could survive the trip. An interstellar invasion might be impossible to pull off. Also, consider time. The universe.
He followed
Just
us
the
here.
video.
He's not going to stop.
I'm actually tired of seeing this ad already.
This isn't like any other ghost face.
Scream, only in theaters March 10th.
Welcome to your personal port, Captain. Choose a ship and click on the battle button.
This is very old. On Earth, there's been life for at least 3.6 billion years. Intelligent human life for about 250,000 years, but
Just
only
a
for about a
fraction.
century have we had the technology to communicate over great distances. There might have been grand alien empires that stretched across thousands of systems and existed for millions of years, and we might just have missed them. There might be grandiose ruins rotting away on distant worlds. 99% of all species on Earth have died out. It's easy to argue that this will
Just
be
being
our
alive
fate
is a
sooner or
lottery
later.
win.
Intelligent life may develop, spread over a few systems, and die off, over and over again. But galactic civilizations might never meet, so maybe it's a unifying experience for life in the universe to look at the stars and wonder, where is everyone? But there is no reason to assume aliens are like us, or that our logic applies to them. It might just be that our means of communication are extremely primitive and outdated. Imagine sitting in a house with a Morse code transmitter. You'd keep sending messages, but nobody would
When was
answer.
Morse code first used? In the 1820s or 1830s? I know the first message was biblical, but I don't remember what it said. If you know, write that down below.
And you'd feel
That's
pretty
interesting.
lonely. Maybe we're still undetectable for intelligent species, and will remain so until we learn to communicate properly. And even if we met aliens, we might be too different to be able to communicate with them in a meaningful way. Imagine the smartest squirrel you can. No matter how hard you try, you won't be able to explain our society to it. After all, from the squirrel's perspective, a tree is all that a sophisticated intelligence like itself needs to survive. So, humans cutting down whole forests is madness. But we don't destroy forests because we hate squirrels, we just want the resources. The squirrel's wishes and the squirrel's survival are of no concern to us.
Do you really think that it would change your life in any meaningful way if you found out that there were life forms on distant planets? I was just considering that. And I was thinking that, yes, it might give some perspective, but it's something similar to when we were speaking about simulation theory. For me, I don't think that it would make our microcosmic lives any different. We would probably still have to go to work. You'd still have to call your family members every once in a while if that's what you do. Or you'd still have to eat, right? Things that make you human, they would still apply. So although I think the knowledge would be interesting or cool, I don't think it would change my life. But I'm just me, so let me know a significant change that it would make in your life if you think there is one.
That's a very good point to bring up, and I'm glad that she mentioned it and she put it the way she did. So it's kind of like with the issue with like if you don't believe in God or you don't subscribe to any specific religion, or you think we live in a simulation or in the matrix, it's like having a spiritual belief or a religious belief has its benefits. It has its cons, but it has its benefits also. I would argue that the benefits outweigh the cons because it's, as far as I'm concerned, those are the things that actually give life meaning. The value we place on things and the way we treat each other, and the fact that we we are not just pursuing like our own selfish desires, but there's something we consider that is bigger than ourselves, that we are in awe of, and that we aspire to. I believe those are the kind of ideas that actually could actually make the world a better place. On the flip side, if you think we live in a matrix, or that there's everything's life is just a series of accidents and nothing really matters, nothing really has any meaning, or we're just like puppets in the game, in the crow game. I struggle to see the bright side of it. If it was true, that's really depressing. And if it is not true, it's still a very depressing way to move about life. Because if we're in a simulation or if we're in a matrix or anything, it's really makes it feel like nothing you do ever really matters, or there's any real meaning to your existence or to anything else. And while you might criticize people who are religious of grabbing a fallacy and clinging to it like a safety blanket, I think there's more truth to those beliefs than to the belief that nothing matters, because you don't treat yourself, or hopefully, or you don't treat other people like they don't matter, because that is not a good way to go about life. It's very hard on yourself and to those around you. So, to our point, if you look at those things and it wouldn't really change your life as much, because you still call your family, you still treat people the way you would treat people, and you still go about life pursuing the things that matter to you, whether like socially and everything, trying to live a balanced life, then that's good. But if you find out and then it's like, oh my God, well, what's the point of all of this? Then that's not a very good or healthy outlook on life.
A Type 3 civilization in need of resources may treat us in a similar way. They might just evaporate our oceans to make collecting whatever they need easier. One of the aliens might think for a second, oh, tiny little apes, they build really cute concrete structures.
That's this, like, I feel like the planet Earth is a type 3 civilization. Well, like the way it operates, basically it's like earthquakes, tsunamis, natural disasters. It's not doing it to attack humans. It's just like doing what it needs to survive. So anything like, there's vibrations in the earth's core, it belches, and then earthquakes happen, and then a lot of people die, or like volcanic eruptions or rain, thunderstorm. It's just nature doing its thing. It's not attacking you. Your existence is not important enough to it for it to like, oh, let me not do what I have to do. So before you go fighting on behalf of nature, let's try and help each other survive. The type 3 civilization kind thing.
Oh well, now they're
I
dead.
really need to stop talking
before
about climate
activating
change. I
Warp
think I
Speed.
talk about it too
But if
much.
there is a civilization out there that wants to eliminate other species, it's far more likely that it will be motivated by culture rather than by economics. And anyway, it would be more effective to
That's
automate
speculation.
the process by constructing the
It
perfect
is.
weapon. A self-replicating space probe made from nanomachines. They operate on a molecular level, incredibly fast and deadly, with the power to attack and dismantle anything in an instant. You
Sounds like a
only need
virus.
to give them 4 instructions. 1. Find a planet with life. 2. Disassemble everything on this planet into its component parts. 3. Use the resources to build new space probes. 4. Repeat. A doomsday machine like this could render a galaxy sterile in a few million years. But why would you fly light years to gather resources or commit genocide? The
He followed us here. He's not going to stop.
I'm tired of saying this. This movie, please come out so I don't have to keep saying this ad.
Scream, only in theaters March 10th.
Do 2 W2s make a W4?
Ask the real
Are
questions.
you kidding? Hi, I'm April. I'm here to.
speed of light is actually not very
The way she popped in with the umbrella is like a Mary popping, because she popped in and did bars.
very fast. If someone could travel at the speed of light, it would still take 100,000 years to cross the Milky Way once, and you'll probably travel way slower. There might be way more enjoyable things than destroying civilizations and building empires. An interesting concept is the Matryoshka brain, a megastructure surrounding a star. A computer of such computing power that an entire species could upload their consciousness and exist in a simulated universe. Potentially, one
Not
could
for me.
experience an eternal.
I'm not even sure if that's possible to upload the consciousness, because we're not really entirely sure what our consciousness is, or if it's possible to even upload it into something, because a lot of the things, I have a theory. I believe human beings have a spirit, soul, and body. Bear with me. Bear with me. Your body is what you use to interact with the physical world. You're hungry, you need to eat, and all those kind of things. Your spirit is what you use to interact with the spiritual world, like your dreams and other spiritual things that happen in life. If you don't believe spiritual things happen in life, I can tell you that in fact they do. I'll leave it to life to convince you. And your body, and your mind, it's you. That's you. Because different people can experience the same thing and react to it differently. What you may see as annoying, I may see as ridiculous or funny. So it's like the way you interpret what happens in your physical and your spiritual is different. It varies with each individual. So I believe that your mind, that is you, and your mind is not something you can like cut open and see. It's just there, and I don't understand it enough to fully like break it down and explain everything, because I don't even know the explanation. But so far, that's as far as I can say to it. So to upload your consciousness, that would be like your mind into like a computer. I feel like that wouldn't work, because your mind needs a body and a spirit to actually function. Without a body and a spirit, your mind is just nothing. It's not feeding off any information to guide itself, and it has to guide itself within a framework of either the physical or the spiritual, not just a computer program. So like, if in your mind, maybe in your mind you find certain characters like or certain behaviors disgusting or annoying, they are so like deeply ingrained physical reasons why you find those things annoying, down to your DNA, to how we've evolved to survive as a species. So without your body's information and all the historical information that is ingrained in your DNA, your body has no frame of reference to decide anything. And without any spiritual influence of things that you are more inclined to do, you're maybe more being more open to ideas or more conservative in your beliefs, like those things don't exist, so therefore you don't exist. And my religious belief, maybe I'm a bit biased because of my religious beliefs, but this is actually what I do believe. I believe that when we die and in the afterlife, and when the whole world as we know it ends, and in the world to come, we are going to exist in a different state, not in our physical state, because in our physical state there are needs our body has to meet for us to survive. We have to be afraid, we need fear, we need anger, we need aggression, because we are not just predators, we are also prey. And because of all those things, we need to be the way we are to survive where we are right now. We are not perfect. We can be benevolent or malevolent, but we need to be that way because of where we are right now. And if we're in a different place, we need a certain different framework to operate in to survive in that new world. So the new world cannot be a computer program, because it's not a real place. It's a circuit of programming of ones and zeros. And if your mind is not feeding off of the physical or spiritual information, but it's just existing, then it is not really conscious. So you can't really say you've uploaded your consciousness, because you've just done nothing. It's just nothing. Maybe a series of programming to respond to certain information based off of how you used to react to this, and based off of like a recorded history of your pattern of behavior, but it's not really you, and it can't really deviate from that like you might be able to deviate and do things that are out of character for you. So your programming wouldn't lose its temper and get unreasonably angry about something, or like disobey your own instructions like you would do in the real world. So uploading your consciousness fundamentally cannot work, in my opinion. If any of that rambling made sense. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos.
Of pure ecstasies without ever being bored or sad. A perfect life. If built around a
Is it perfect though? That's the person.
Powered for up to 10 trillion years. Who would want to conquer the galaxy or make contact?
A life without being bored or sad?
Thank you.
This doesn't seem like an interesting life to me.
It's not. Yeah, I agree.
With other life forms, if this were an option. All these solutions to the Fermi Paradox have one problem. We don't know where the borders of technology are. We could be close to the limit or nowhere near it, and super technology awaits us, granting us immortality, transporting us to other galaxies, elevating us to the level of gods. One thing we do have to acknowledge is that we really don't know anything. Humans have spent more than 90% of their existence as hunter-gatherers. 500 years ago, we thought we were the center of the universe. 200 years ago, we stopped using human labor as the main source of energy. 30 years ago, we had apocalyptic weapons pointed at each other because of political disagreement.
Oh, and then the issue about we only recently stopped using human labor as a primary source of energy. I think that's very important, and let's not just gloss over that, because when it comes to like talking about slavery, I tend to shy away from the topic because it's very complicated and I don't know enough about all the necessary moving parts. But from the little I do know, slavery has been a thing for most of human history. It's only recently that we're beginning to say slavery is bad. So countries that had slaves or have slaves, let's not be too quick to demonize those people, because for most of history that was just normal. And as we grow as individuals and as a collective, we're kind of like sorting out ourselves morally and socially, and hopefully we get it right, but nobody ever really knows, and I don't think there's any right we can get as things are. We just have to like balance each other out with our excesses, so we don't go to either side of the extreme. But like racism and slavery in America, like it is a bad thing. It was a bad thing that it happened, but I believe that this might be where I walk into murky waters. Let me get the toxic goggles on. As far as slavery in America goes, I think it's time we start taking steps to move past it. I know the history has been really terrible and rough on African Americans, and as an African, I don't think it's really my place to really have this conversation, especially because there are still slaves in Africa, owned by Africans, bought and sold by Africans, and in fact, most of the slaves that the white people bought were sold by yours truly, Africans, and they are still like slave owners and slave traders in Africa. So when we criticize people who were cruel, like extremely cruel to slaves in their past, let's also give credit to where credit is due, that they had the initiative of putting a stop to it. Whatever the reasons are, we can analyze that in a separate video. But I'm not sure if I'm comfortable having a full-on conversation about that, but I like to see what other people think about it. But in my opinion, I think dwelling on it too much isn't super healthy. And when it comes to like racial tensions and discrimination and prejudice, I believe that's normal. It's like we all kind of tend to cling to our groups, and we all rep our sets. We all rep our sets. So whether it's sports, family, tribe, clan, country, we all, as individualistic as humans are, we are also like very group oriented. We like to be ourselves, but we also like to be within a group that we have a sense of community with. So people tend to cling to those groups. So I don't think those like tensions and prejudice should be as big of a social issue as they are, but that might be wrong because of the recent history, and because it was recent, and because of the disenfranchisement and everything that happened and came along with that. I'm rambling on, but my point is, guys, don't come for me for this. These are my opinions and these are my ideas. I might be wrong, let me know. But I think we shouldn't be so. We shouldn't lean too much into the victimization mentality. Even though we have been victimized, leaning into that victimization doesn't really help. It helps to like acknowledge the past, reconcile that, and try and move forward together. And this is a great country, America. It is a great country. As much as there are racial tensions currently in Nigeria with the elections and everything going on, we have tribalistic tensions going on in Nigeria as it speaks right now. So we guys need to get on our level. We say, who needs racism when you have good tribalism to fall back on? We don't judge people on the basis of their skin color. We judge them on how their last name sounds. As ridiculous as that sounds, it's been the way most of human history is. So, guys, let's cool it. We only just found out that slavery is wrong like recently, and it's not like the whole world unanimously agreed to it. Few people in a particular group decided that maybe it's not such a good idea anymore, and not everybody agrees with that and whatnot. But I believe we have made progress as humans, as a species, and we're gonna keep making progress so long as we don't focus our energy on breaking each other down, because I believe whatever it is we humans come together and agree on and focus on, we can and we will eventually achieve that. And if we focus on destroying each other, we can and we will also achieve that. So let's cut people some slack, give people some grace, and let's try and do this thing. Hoorah! Okay, back to existential crises.
Agreements. In the galactic timescale, we are embryos. We've come far, but still have a long way to go. The mindset that we really are the center of the universe is still strong in humans, so it's easy to make arrogant assumptions about life in the universe. But in the end, there's only one way to find out, right?
Time? Who knows what conclusions technology will lead us to in the future?
See, that's a good way to even end the video. Like, in the end, nobody even knows the answer. I don't think it's arrogant to think the world revolves around us, because we are extremely complicated as a species. We don't even fully understand ourselves. Like, you tell yourself you're going to do something, but you don't do it. You tell yourself not to do something, but you still do it. So, like, we don't fully we don't fully understand ourselves. And as like I made a few other videos like talking about like the immune system and whatnot, and we are so fascinating as creatures, and our existence is such an impossibility that it's hard to believe that it wasn't by design. So I don't think it's an arrogant statement. It might not be the only one out there, but we're definitely something big. We're pretty impressive. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, thank you for for watching the video. The link to the original will be in the description. Shout out to No Protocol. She's probably going to give a literary recommendation by the end of this video. You guys can check her channel out and check out the written recommendations. But I am out. Doses.